first and foremost, the pass defense, how's it looking so far in preseason? I know the offense throwing a little bit more, doing a little, they're having periods where they're throwing it around. That's got to help you, right?
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, we're getting to work on our pass defense a little bit more, getting a key on certain things and just getting to run around and really get used to everybody and how they're playing, their strengths and stuff like that. So it's definitely awesome.
What are some of your goals individually? I mean, I think, you played a lot of football here and you're still a young guy. Do you feel like you can really take it to another level? I mean, I don't want to put pressure on you, but, I know the coaching staff thinks that you can be a dominant defender.
Yeah, so definitely. As far as my goals, the things that I'm really trying to key in on are just my eyes and my footwork and just working on leading the team, bringing energy to practice every day. Because I know, like, with the team, with my team, with the people that I have beside me, like, we can all do great things. And of course, like, I have to do good things, but as long as I can lead and bring people along with me and do everything like that, like, together, we'd definitely be unstoppable.
What did Coach Newberry and Coach Lewis tell you as far as what they wanted you to improve upon during the offseason? What do you need to do better than you did in 2022?
I would definitely say communicating, getting the calls out and stuff like that, and then especially like my pad level and stuff like that. At times, I was too high on certain plays and stuff like that, which prevented me from moving like how I wanted to. So just keying on getting my pads level and reading and knowing how the offense is trying to attack us, so we can get those key plays and we can move at a fast speed.
So obviously last year there was an issue with getting the ball thrown deep. Gave up way too many long balls, 20 yards more, 30 yards or more, touchdowns, etc. What are you all doing to eradicate that problem?
I would definitely say one of the big things is now as safeties and corners, we have meetings together. So we're able to get on the same page and go through like different route trees and see how everyone sees it playing out and just being able to get on the same page so we know what each other is thinking and how we could prevent long balls and just any type of pass in general.
I'll pass it off to Pete.
Go ahead, Pete.
Ray, new voice in the back there for you with Coach Lewis. What has that been like so far, trying to foster that relationship here with spring and then obviously now here in fall camp?
Oh, yeah. Coach Lewis is great. I've learned a lot from him in the little time he's been here so far, and I feel like the relationship is definitely there. Like, I can FaceTime him, call him on the phone, whatever. At any point in time, just chop it up with him. So it's definitely a great relationship that I definitely appreciate.
The quarterback room is a lot deeper right now, and that certainly translates even to good things for your scout team. How much does that help you all getting quality looks, even from a scout team, when the quarterback depth is that good?
I mean, it's awesome because at the end of the day, what we want to do is compete. So whether it's scout team or they're getting actual reps, we're all competing. We're all trying to, for the offense, they're trying to score touchdowns. For the defense, we're trying to stop them. And so basically we go out with a mentality like we're going to win at the end of the day. So just being able to compete and do that thing, I just think it's awesome for us as a whole team.
For you guys in the back, it obviously it's in simpatico with the guys up front. How much does having a group of defensive linemen up front and an aggressive position at linebacker that usually puts pressure on the quarterback, how does that help you all in the secondary do your job?
I mean, it's just awesome knowing that we have a front line and linebackers that know their keys and are going to run fast to the ball, just knowing everyone can do their job, it just makes it that much easier because now we don't have to cover for as long and different things like that. And after that, just knowing that if they mess up anything on the front end, that we'll be able to cover them in the back end. It's just great because we're able to foster basically a team of trust, and everybody believes that their teammates can do what they have to do. Everybody can rely on each other. So it's a great feeling. It's great to be out there.
You've got a brother who's obviously doing really good things on his level and is being looked at by a lot of people. You had a lot of good film, obviously, in your first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
What has it been like to stay at the Naval Academy, keep that commitment at a time where there are a lot of college athletes who are not necessarily keeping that commitment?
I mean, it's just awesome. Just, with the relationships that I have made and just being able to stay with my brothers and just working day in, day out. Because a lot of people just see like what happens on Saturdays, but they don't see like what goes on in the off season, what goes on during the weeks, and just stuff like that. And be able to grind it out with my brothers it's a great feeling.
Awesome. Wags, I'll let you follow up.
Ray, Evan Gibbons, he's been around, almost as much as you as far as getting a lot of reps, has played a lot of ball. What can you say about Evan and what's it like to be back there with another safety who you know and trust?
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, like I said again, everybody sees like what goes on Saturdays, but nobody sees like the in between that. And just having Gibby, in there, he's definitely like a leader in the room. Everybody, he knows defense in and out. He can tell you what the offense is going to do. So just having somebody like that in the room that's a voice, that's really another coach, is just awesome, especially with bringing along the young guys and stuff like that.
Can you talk about the depth of safety? Let's look at behind you at the free safety position. I believe going into preseason camp, Marcus Moore was listed number 2. Mm-hmm. Jackson Campbell is actually listed 3, but he's moved to striker. Just kind of tell us who else is getting reps and looking good at the free safety position.
Most definitely. So, I mean, really, I would say we're all doing pretty good. We're all having a solid camp. Like everybody that's there, they want to play. They want to be known. They want to do their job. They want to elite. They want to run to the ball. They want to do all this stuff. So just seeing that, and then like having like micro competitions between each other, just going out there trying to get better, and then coming back in and looking at the film, it's working wonders definitely for our room.
Wags, I'll add him. MBD Williams has moved to safety, so he's working back there. He's one name that you would not know. That because he was corner. Yeah.
Do we know if he's at free safety or rover?
He's opposite Ray.
Okay. Ray, well, what about Marcus Moore? He's a guy that's flashed some potential. I mean, what are you seeing out of Marcus? Do you feel like he can make an impact this year?
Definitely on the field and off the field too. Like I said, he's also one of the many mentors that we have in the room for bringing the young guys along, and just different areas like that, like young guys, and we all can like watch. Like young guys aren't scared to go up to him like, "Hey, bro, like, can we watch some film after practice or any of this time?" And he'd be like, "Yes, sir." Like, there's no hesitation with him. So in that aspect and on the field, he's been doing what he needs to do. His eyes have been good. His footwork have been good. He's seeing what's going on. So just all of that is working for him.
So, we talked about, the deep balls, and one of the teams that got you in the past has been Notre Dame. Is this right out of the gate, a really good challenge to see how well the pass defense has improved?
I would say definitely, they're definitely going to throw the ball and give us an early chance to prove who we are. So we couldn't ask for anything better than that.
And have you studied much tape of Notre Dame? Have you been already getting into that, or are you trying to focus right now on training camp and get to Notre Dame later?
I mean, I would say, we do have to have focus during training camp and stuff like that. So we're definitely getting that accomplished. But at the same time, we know the opponent that we have in less than 3 weeks. So we've been looking at that. We've been seeing what we have to do in the challenge that's going to come. But I would definitely say when the time comes, we're going to be prepared for it.
And I was curious, do you watch much film of former Navy safeties that were among the best that Navy's had? I think a guy like Wyatt Middleton comes to mind. There have been other guys, Josh Smith. Do you ever go back and look at tape of former safeties here?
Oh, yeah, we see that all the time. And then it's just certain things that flash is like running to the ball and just making sure like eyes and feet and footwork are good, which is why those are like some of the things that we emphasize now. So definitely.
All right. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Pete, you have anything else?
Yeah, Ray, a follow-up for me. The fact that MBD has obviously moved over to safety, and the fact that, guys like, obviously, hopefully, Peel, who was really good before he got hurt, last year. Guys like Matthew Peters, Duhart, Elias, guys that have all been on the field. How much, you mentioned it earlier, just those little micro competitions, but how much does it help to have guys that actually have experience as well within that competition back there?
Oh yeah, it's awesome because I would say on the field, nothing beats experience. So just getting those guys in that know what it's like to play in the game, that have that feeling and everything else, it even works better to preparation because they're going to practice and they're thinking like, hey, in the game time it's going to be this, and they can actually like relate to certain situations. So just having that is awesome, and then like having them competing for a spot, obviously, like it's working wonders in the back end, definitely.
Is there anybody that we don't know yet back there that has opened eyes so far?
I don't think so. I think pretty much everyone that's on your radar is pretty much who's been doing what they have to do, pretty much. So, yeah.
And going up against offensive guys, who has impressed you so far over on the offensive side so far in camp?
Oh man, offense has been doing their thing. So guys like Croy Myers, Jaden Umbarger, I can't even give you names. All of them have been doing great. The offense
this is your third year here now. There appears to be a stable of people over there that can go get the football right now. Is that a fair observation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's good for me.
Anything else for Rayuan? Wags, you got one more?
Yeah, well, Ray, tell us, it's a big deal about Navy incorporating more passing schemes, quick passing schemes, without giving us away state secrets. Does it look like it's going to be really beneficial to the offense? Does it seem to be working?
As far as that, all I'm going to say is when we play on Saturdays or whatever day we plan on playing, that team, they're going to have to be ready.
Why don't you tell us how the whole is progressing and how the pass defense looks?
I think we're progressing really well. We have some experienced guys. I think they're much more comfortable both within the scheme and working with each other now. So it's been a very productive fall camp so far, and we're looking pretty sharp. So I'm looking forward to see how they do against some opponents here this fall.
Obviously, the deep ball was an issue last year, giving up too many chunk plays, 20+ yards, 30+ yards, touchdowns. We talked about this in the spring. How much progress have you made to improving, tightening that up?
Well, yeah, that's, as I mentioned in the spring, that's a major point of emphasis for us. Everyone's aware of that, the coaching staff, the players. So both from a schematic standpoint and a fundamental standpoint, we've been working on that consistently. A lot of that has to do with knowing when and where you can take chances, playing the ball effectively in the air, and obviously getting the best athletes you can on the field.
Can you talk about the impact you believe Ray Lane can make? I think he's got a lot of talent. He's played a lot of football already, and he's only a junior. You feel like he can take the next step and really blossom into an all-American Athletic Conference type safety?
Well, that's definitely our expectations as a staff for him as a player. He's definitely one of the most talented guys we have on the team in general, any position. With experience that he's, as you mentioned, he's played a lot of football here already. I really think he's poised to take the next step. He's physically and mentally mature enough to do it. And he works at it, consistently. So I really expect to see big things from him this season.
What do you think Ray brings to the table? What are his attributes?
Physically, he's better than everybody else. I don't know what else to say about it. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, and that combined with experience makes him a huge asset to our defense. But he's an explosive athlete. He's a 500+ pound squatter. He's sub 10% body fat. he can run, he's physical, and he's a really smart football player. So all that combined, gives him an opportunity to be an elite player in this conference and in the country.
And what about Gibbons? He's another guy that's got a decent amount of experience, is played back there. And do you feel like Evan is, what do you feel Evan brings to the table? And do you feel like he's poised for a big season?
He is. He has worked himself into the position where he's at. He has, I think, the ultimate level of respect from his teammates, from his coaches. He's probably not, and no knock to him, but he knows this. He's not athletically as gifted as someone like Ray is, but he works at such a high level that he's, made himself into a quality Division I football player. He's definitely in command in the back end, both from a leadership standpoint, from a knowledge standpoint. He's everything you can ask for from a character standpoint as well.
I'll let Pete take the floor.
Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, have you seen, dramatic is probably not the right word, but have you seen subtle differences already in this group from your spring opportunities to what you all have been doing now in fall camp?
I really have. I think some of that both comes with their level of comfort within the scheme. The other part is we had a little bit more time this summer. They had more time to work on football, both from a 7-on-7 standpoint, from a practice standpoint, than I think they had in the past. And it really allowed us to come into fall camp, at least closer to full speed than I think they had in the past. So they've made some dramatic steps forward. Hopefully we continue to carry that on as the season starts.
You just hit on one of my favorite topics, the invent of 7-on-7 and what it has done for skill players, both sides of the ball, because obviously it gives DBs a chance to do a lot of one-on-one things out there. How much, in your mind, has that helped players develop even before you all get a hold of some of them? They've been exposed to playing some at least one-on-one concepts out there and trying to figure out how it's done.
There's some good and some bad to it. They have a very much more of a well-rounded knowledge of football. Some of it may even come from video games, but they understand from a holistic standpoint how coverages should be played out. Who has what responsibility in each coverage. They're probably a little bit more comfortable with their techniques than decades or years past. Now, sometimes it can be a little too much. You can also get in bad habits if you work on bad habits consistently from a youth onto your older stages of your career. It can be a negative. And some guys unfortunately get recruited because they look good in 7-on-7. All of a sudden they're not as physical as they should be. So there's a lot of guys that look good in 7-on-7. You put on pads and all of a sudden they're not quite as aggressive when they have to come downhill and hit somebody. So there's good and bad to it. I definitely think, just like AAU basketball, kids today are much more skilled, I think, than probably they were in the past.
You guys have moved Mbidi over to safety. What was the thinking behind that?
He's one of the faster guys on the team, and he's a very smart, diligent worker. He's from a work ethic standpoint, he's incredible. And it just gives us the ability to have a little bit more speed on the field. We think we have some pretty good corners this year, some guys with some more experience. And instead of having 3 or 4 guys deep at corner, it allows us to spread out our talent and really just get some more talented guys on the field.
We ask players all the time about changes. For a coach coming in, it's twofold. Not only are you having to learn what the defensive coordinator and, that philosophy, you're learning new coaches, new men that you have to develop a trust with. And at the same time, you got to evaluate a lot of football players. What's the transition been like for you here so far?
It's been challenging in some aspects. It's a very unique place. We have more numbers in terms of players on the team. We face the option every day in practice. so each day in practice, instead of just working on a spread offense, you're working on some spread stuff to get ready for the season. You're working on option stuff every day against your own team. So that part's been challenging. I think it's been great from a coaching standpoint. If you want to talk about individual, progress as a coach, getting better, because you have to focus on every little thing. And we have a little bit less time, I think, than maybe I had previously in my career as far as spending time with the players. But it's been good. We have a lot less distractions. Let's put it that way. Our kids don't get in trouble. They go to class. They do everything right. They're smart. They pick up things a lot quicker than you would at other places. So, while it is more challenging in some standpoints, it is, they're the best kids in the world to work with.
At this time of the year, is it difficult to get kids, especially the ones you need to evaluate, the specific reps you need to evaluate them on?
It may be from the aspect of looking at some of the younger kids. They don't have as much time with us because of plebe summer and stuff like that as you would at other schools. Typically, if you're at other division non-academy schools, you have the incoming freshmen since June 1st, and you work with them every day. Here, we don't really get a chance to get our hands on them until August. So that's a little bit different. But as far as everyone else, if you've been coaching long enough, it's not that hard to see, what a player should look like.
Appreciate it. Wags, I'll throw it back to you.
Hey, Coach, Pete mentioned Mbidi Williams. Is he challenging Gibbons at that other safety position?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we want the 4 or 5 best DBs we can put on the field at once. We're going to get them out there. Now, that being said, everyone's going to play, and everyone's going to play a good amount. It's naive to think that you're going to go through an entire football season with just 4 DBs starting the whole season, or just 2 safeties. So I think they all have a lot of respect for each other. They understand what everyone brings to the table, and each of them is a little bit different. But yeah, there's definitely open competition for starting spots and backup spots. We've talked about those 3, but Joe Hudson's a good player. He's a young guy that has made tremendous strides, and we have Marcus Moore too. That's a senior, and he's had a very good camp as well. So there's competition, and having competition within your room is the best thing you can do as far as the improvement of a team overall.
Well, I was going to ask you about Tiki. I think I was out there last week, and he had a pick, a nice pick on a pass play. Do you feel like he can really be an asset? I know Ray's not going to come off the field a lot, but you feel like Tiki can be an asset at free safety?
I really do. He's developed, from what I understand. I wasn't here the last 3 years, but he's developed into quite a leader in the back end. Guys have a lot of respect for him. He understands the concepts. He's also been really physical this camp, and it's been impressive. So, and it's hard for guys. He knows that Ray's going to start. Everyone knows Ray's going to start, but he keeps working on his craft, keeps mastering his craft and his technique each and every day. And we have no problem putting him in the game. He's earned it, and I think he'll make some plays at some point during the season.
So with Ray and his versatility, I mean, are there some things, without giving away state secrets, are there some ways you can utilize him to wreak havoc and disrupt the offense?
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Come on, Hal, tell us exactly. What, you'll be blitzing him?
He's been begging us to blitz him every single day. Every time we put in a new blitz, he says, "When is my blitz coming in?" So at some point we will. We'll blitz him. We'll drop him into coverage, and he does give us the ability to play zone coverage, man coverage. Put him in the line sometimes, blitz him off the edge. So as the season progresses, as we face different opponents, we'll find ways to utilize his skill set.
So your opponent out of the gate is going to test the Navy pass defense. Last season, Notre Dame connected on some deep balls against Navy, some chunk plays. I guess they got your attention. Yeah.
It is Notre Dame. They got good players. I've coached against them before. They'll be good. They'll be tested, but you know what? Our guys will be ready. our guys want to play Notre Dame. At the end of the day, I'm sure Notre Dame wants to play us. It's a season opener. It's in Ireland. It'd be a lot of people. Our guys are looking forward to the challenge to play them. We want to play the best receivers. We want to play the best offenses. So our guys are going to be, as up for the challenge as they could possibly be.
Is it a difficult scout when the guy throwing the ball, Sam Hartman, is a transfer and didn't work with these receivers last year?
It's difficult from the standpoint that he's really good.
Okay.
We got a chance to watch their spring game a little bit. They have a different guy calling the plays, presumably. So some of that will be a little bit of an adjustment on the fly. We think we have a pretty good idea what they may do, both from Sam's skill set and, from Gino's background at Cincinnati. So there'll be, I would assume they'll be slightly different on offense than they have been in the past, but, we think we know what we're getting into.
So obviously you've been given the title passing game coordinator, and I think, Coach Newberry, that's a sign that he wanted to address what he thought was an area of concern. How serious do you take this responsibility? I mean, I know you do, but do you feel like under pressure to author a major turnaround in Navy's pass defense this season?
I'll tell you after the Notre Dame game. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as much as anyone else. As any coach, you want to be up for the challenge. It's an area that we know we have to improve on the whole team knows we have to improve on it from a pass defensive standpoint, potentially not giving up, and hopefully the explosive pass game can be limited. So we need to improve on that. We know that. That's my job. And I think we're focused on that.
All right. Thanks, Coach Lewis. Really appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Pete.
2 follow-ups from me. I'll piggyback on what Wags was just talking about. Just in general, when you look at opposition, how important is it to see a lot of teams run the same thing. They just do it out of different formations. How hard is it to teach and obviously have people comprehend, believe in what you're seeing and don't necessarily look like you're seeing a lie out there? A lot of times it's just the same play. It just might be out of a different formation or a different motion.
When we talk about playing with veteran players, I think that's part of it. They start to understand concepts instead of just individual routes. They understand how splits can dictate potential route concepts. And then as you go into the week of game planning, every coordinator is going to have tendencies, and every quarterback has tendencies. So, we look at those throughout the week, familiarize our guys with as much of that as possible throughout the week. And then at some point you're going to have to adjust and just play your technique. Once you master your technique, I don't think some of that is as difficult as it seems. I know as coaches, we sometimes get too much credit for being really innovative, but at the end of the day, if guys are fundamentally technically sound and they play hard, you end up in a good position more times than not.
Final one for me in terms of player evaluation. Do you put a lot of stock in the film you watch, or did you even watch a ton of film of the returning players from last season, as opposed to what your eyes told you in the spring and what your eyes are telling you right now out on the practice field?
I watched quite a bit of film, but to be honest, I don't think I never want to go into a situation and prejudge any players. I don't know what they were taught before necessarily. I don't know how mature they were, how things were communicated. So I watch a lot just to see what we need to work on. But at the end of the day, the one benefit is they get a clean slate. You get a new coach, you get a clean slate. You get to prove every single day, whether you're worthy of playing or if you're not. So I expressed that to them when I first got here. And again, this fall, it's a show me sport, and they have the opportunity to show me every single day.
Awesome. Appreciate the time, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got just one before we go. We had Ray on earlier, and he talked about how much he enjoyed having you as his coach, that he can FaceTime you any time of the day to talk. Is that something that you've really emphasized here to, connect with those guys, not only on the field, but off as well?
Definitely. I mean, that's a big point of emphasis here at the program in general. Coach New sets that culture. But in general, as a position coach, there's an old saying that says they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So at the end of the day, you have to have good relationships with guys, and they have to feel that they can trust you and they can come to you with anything. So, I try to make a concerted effort to, build relationships with guys. And when you're new, you have to probably make more of an effort than if you've been here for 3 or 4 years. So I enjoy working with these guys. They're a great group. I could never stress that enough to anyone that's outside the program or on the fringes of the program. Getting a chance to meet these young men, from what they go through on a day-to-day basis and how they conduct and carry themselves. It's after 20 years in football, it's impressive.